Hello everybody, welcome to Bible Stories today. Today we'll be looking at the story of Gideon and how God uses the weak to defeat the mighty. The Israelites did evil in the sight of the Lord, and he handed them over to the Midianites for 7 years. The Midianites oppressed them and they hid in caves. The Midianites destroyed their crops and livestock, leaving Israel poor and afraid for 7 years. The Israelites cried out to the Lord for help, as we can see that in the book of Judges chapter 6 from verse 1 to 6. Gideon was hiding in a wine press, secretly threshing wheat because he was afraid of the Midianites. An angel of the Lord appeared to him and called him a mighty warrior. God chooses Gideon to save the Israelites, even though Gideon felt unworthy, unqualified, and weak. Gideon asked God for signs to be sure of his calling. God patiently confirmed his promises through a fire consuming Gideon's offering and a fleece wool test, that is, a wet wool on a dry ground and a dry ground with a wet wool. We see that in the book of Judges chapter 6 from verse 36 to 40. This shows God's mercy and understanding towards Gideon's fear. Book of Judges 7, 1 to 8. At night, Gideon's 300 men broke their jars, held up their lamps, and blew their trumpets. God caused confusion in the Midianites' camp, and they turned against each other and fled. Israel won the battle even without putting up a fight with the Midianite army. Judges 7:19 to 22. With 300 men, Gideon attacked the Midianites at night, causing chaos. The Midianites thought it was a huge army attacking and they fled. Israel won the battle and Gideon became the leader. The story of Gideon reminds us that God specializes in using ordinary people to do extraordinary things. When we trust God and obey Him, He can bring victory even in impossible situations. God can use anyone, no matter how weak they feel. The lessons we can learn from these stories are: faith grows through obedience. Victory comes from God, not numbers or strength. God is patient with our doubts. The story of Gideon teaches us that God does not depend on human strength or numbers. Instead, He uses obedience, faith, and humility to bring victory. Gideon's story shows how God can turn fear into courage and weakness into strength. Although Gideon was a nobody, but God made him a hero because God chooses the unlikely. Gideon needed assurance and God said, "I will be with you." God's presence is enough. That is all we need. Although Gideon had doubts, but he still followed God's plan. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. See you in the next video.